Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Jonathan Vertonis. Welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel, where in today's video I thought I would make around what I would do differently if I had just graduated. So obviously I've been in the corporate world now for a little while. I am a recruiter with my 9 to 5, and then outside of work I am a career coach. So I thought, obviously, with my bits of experience now over the last year or so, I thought I would give some advice to my past self, but also to other graduates out there between the ages of 21 to 25 who are trying to find their first full-time jobs. These are a couple of things that I would have done differently if I could go back in time, and hopefully this will help you guys with your own job search moving forward. So to start off is I would stop mass applying, okay? I know, guys, in today's day and age, the world is extremely competitive. There are thousands of people with the same degree as you all around the world trying to get the same jobs as you. I understand that feeling of applying for a job, not even hearing back from the recruiter, but just getting ghosted. I understand that feeling of seeing a job application that 100 other people have already applied for it. I understand that feeling of just constantly feeling like you're not good enough for any job out there. Okay. I understand all of that. All right. But the solution to that is not to just apply for every single job out there in the world. Reason being is, guys, you need to work out what works best for you first. All right, you need to work out what environment is best for you. Okay, you need to work out what type of job excites you. Now, obviously, if you haven't had a job yet in that 9 to 5 sense, you're not going to know 110%. You need to start thinking about things in the past that have interested you to at least apply for that first full-time job. Okay. Reason being is, guys, if you just mass apply for every single job out there and you're going into all these interviews very, very quickly, okay, the recruiter is going to sniff it out of you that you don't actually know what you're doing here. B, you don't actually know where you want to go in the future. And all that signals to the recruiter is that you are a risk, in the sense that they don't know what they're going to get out of you. They don't know what your input's going to be like, because if you're not exactly passionate about the work, you're not saying you have to die for the company, but I'm just saying in the sense that if they can tell straight off the bat that you're not 110% like energetic and confident and enthusiastic about the role, they're already going to have doubts about, what you're going to be like settling in, what your motivation is going to be like, what your work ethic's going to be like. So then it comes down to that next question where it's like, well, if we hire this person, are we going to have to go through this same hiring process again in 3 or 6 months' time because they haven't passed their probation or because they've quit? So you don't want to send these signals to recruiters, okay? At the end of the day, in order to be perceived as the most attractive candidate, you have to be perceived as the most reliable. How do you be perceived as the most reliable? You bring stability. How do you bring stability? Because you know where you want to go. How do you know where you want to go? You take that time to search, okay? Take that time to search, take that time to think about what environment interests you and attracts you the most, and then think about where you want to go from there. Okay, so in essence, you don't want to just be mass applying for everything, because although it feels productive on the surface, when you've got too many eyes, when you got your eyes set on too many different end goals, you have nowhere to focus. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest thing I would say. And trust me, as a recruiter, we can sniff that out of you straight away if you're not enthusiastic about the position and you're just in this job interview, just kind of there. You know what I mean? You're not going to be perceived as the most attractive candidate. And the reason why I say that so confidently, because obviously I've been on that side of the fence as the recruiter, where I've interviewed people that are just genuinely not passionate about the work at all, and they don't give a crap about the job. They may have a good CV, but then when you interview them, they've got no idea where they want to go. But I've also been on the receiving end of that. I've also been the candidate in that position where I was just so desperate to find work. I'm applying for all these different types of positions. And then you get in the interview, they start asking you a couple of questions about how you feel about this and how you feel about that. And then you realize that, oh, okay, I'm not actually that passionate about this. I'm not actually that keen on this or that. You know what I mean? And then you start to read it out to yourself. You start to think, oh, okay, maybe this isn't the right position for me. The recruiter's obviously going to feel like that times 10. So just be wary of that, okay? Just don't mass apply to everything. Take that extra bit of time to just really think about where you want to go and then aim from there. So that's the first bit of advice. Secondly, I would say is to stop being afraid to network, okay? Trust me, guys, as a recruiter, we welcome networking, okay? As long as it's done with purpose, okay? This was something that I wish I did a lot more of when I was in my job search as a uni student, was just networking. And I think the reason why I think people are so scared to network is because as a candidate, you probably see networking as, I message this person for a job, and if this person can't get me a job, then it's useless, okay? You need to understand the point of networking is to not help you land a job opportunity, it's to help you have more conversations. And those conversations lead to more opportunities down the track. So when you're having these conversations, I think another reason why people go wrong with their networking is that they don't reach out with a purpose. You know what I mean? A lot of the time I've had reach out messages of like, hey, look, I've got a degree in business. Have you got anything for me? And it's like, I probably do, but I need to know more. Like, when you say business, like what does that mean? Like, do you like working in a large company, small company? What industry do you like to work in? What part of the cycle do you like to work in? Like all these little things, like I need to know. I can't read your mind, you know? A lot of the time as well, it's like you guys are reaching out, but the reach out messages are so weak. And I don't say that in a disrespectful way because I've been in that position. But as a recruiter now, it's like when you get a reach out message, you need something to act on. I think the reason why people get ghosted so much with their reach out messages is that they don't reach out with a call to action. I think that's probably the biggest thing is that it's always just like, if you've got some time, I'd love to hear back from you or look forward to hearing back from you, or it doesn't even have to be that. You could literally just ask them a question and then you just leave the message at that. As a recruiter, like if I've had a million other things on my plate on that day, because people are busy, you know what I mean? Whether you're a recruiter, whatever job you do, like you're gonna have busy days. And on that day, you may open up your LinkedIn, you may get this message from somebody, you read through it, and there's no actual call to action. It could just literally be like, hey, look, I'd love the chance to chat to you sometime. Let me know what time that works, blah, blah, blah. You need to give a strong call to action. So something as simple as, when are you available over the next 7 days for a 10 to 15 minute phone call? Things like that is a lot stronger than just, let me know if you have a time to chat. You know what I mean? Sometimes you guys don't even include that. You guys don't even propose anything at the end of the message. It's always just like a little, I'd love to hear back from you or something like that. Okay? You need to be clear in your message about what you want, and there needs to be a clear call to action. Okay? And trust me, stop being afraid to network. Okay? There is nothing wrong with networking. It's the whole reason why LinkedIn was created, was to network. Okay? As long as you're networking with purpose, as long as you know that in your message there is value for them to understand who you are and where you want to go, and also an actionable step for them to apply practically with your message so they know what to do next, there's no harm in it. Okay? And people think networking comes across as like this desperate thing. Trust me, guys, as a recruiter, the majority of positions filled at a senior level comes from networking. Okay? A lot of these top positions out there, they're not done through just the application system and things along these lines, okay? It comes through networking, all right? So get on it, because even now, the younger you are, the connections that you build now can progress. Like you could reach out to somebody who is just at I don't even know, like 2 levels above you, okay? And you may keep in touch with this person over 5-10 years. In 10 years time, they could be a CEO, and they could then have the next best opportunity for you. So you could actually grow with your connections. Or your connections may know somebody else. Whatever it is, you know what I mean? You're not going to know until you know. So start networking straight away. Find people that are in the jobs that you want to work and go from there. Okay, I promise you that is the next best thing to be doing that I'd be recommending. And third is I would be preparing for interviews differently. Okay, so don't go into interviews, preparing for a million types of questions. Okay, have a story of value. Okay, try to really understand, okay, what it is that the position is looking for. Okay, that's probably the biggest thing. Okay, I won't focus too much on the story of value today. Okay, but the biggest thing I'd be focusing on is just the dynamic of the interview. Okay, so first things first, treat the interview as obviously them interviewing you to see if you're the right candidate for their company, but also you assessing if it's the right business for you to work in, for you to dedicate 40 to 50 hours a week to. You need to change that dynamic, okay? So I would be having questions loaded for them. I would be trying to understand what's the reason for hiring, how long have they been looking, the candidates that they've rejected, what was wrong with them, the candidates that they've progressed but ended up rejecting, what did they like, what didn't they like, why has this position been open for so long, okay? Who am I replacing? What did you like? What did you dislike about them? Is this position, am I replacing somebody? Is the position just being created? Why is it being created? Am I supporting somebody? What position is the company going in at the moment? You need to work out all these things. But also when you're going into interviews, you need to be understanding, okay, what it is specifically that the company is looking for, okay? Too many times now when I coach a candidate is I realize that They'll be a really smart candidate, but they can't land jobs. And the reason why isn't because they suck as a candidate, is because their presentation in interviews is all wrong. Okay? So what I mean by this is, just very, very quickly, they're not selling to the need. Okay? So you may have 10 skills, like 10 really good skills of yours, right? Let's say you've got 10 things that you are amazing at. Okay? Where you go wrong is that in a job interview, you talk about all 10 things. Okay? In reality, the position that you're applying for, their biggest problems and the reason why they're hiring may only require 2 of those skills that you've got. So instead of focusing broadly on all 10 of them, dedicate all of your time into those top 2 skills or 3 skills that are most relevant to them and sell directly to the need. Okay? If somebody is trying to get a 6-pack, you're not going to sell to them how to get big legs. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. It's like saying, yeah, but I'm a personal trainer. I can do this, I can do that. It's like, yeah, I understand, but the person that you're talking to has one specific problem. Sell your services to that problem. It's the exact same thing in a job interview, guys. If they're looking for somebody who can do A, B, and C, don't sell to them X, Y, and Z. You know, really try to lock in on your core skills and go from there. All right? Hope you guys got some value from this video. If you guys did, please feel free to leave a like and click the links below if you want to learn more from me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Take care, and I will see you guys in the next episode.